fool us, so the people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not go. I said we tired with their lies. We tired with their promises that led us to a lot of damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrates us. So why can't you lie? Why can't you steal? Why can't you allow the citizens to beef? You see, we just tell you that why we voted you. But you fool us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us, so the people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not to corrupt. No one to trust. My people, no one to hope on. Nobody. My hope that I have been broken. I'm telling you, brother. So where are the schools? Where are the roads? Where are the jobs that they say they could afford? But they're too selfish. The people tired with their rhetoric. People tired, they tired. You see the reason why we ask why the government betray. They have enough of time, but yeah, then stay they delay. People suffer. No work, but people crying for hunger. Look at. Your vision and your mission, your intention to the nation, they poor. You got nothing to show. Nothing. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us, so the people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not go for
Hello? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. The sound went away all of a sudden. Hello? Oh, shit. Hello? I can't hear you, Isaac. My sound is working. Yours isn't. We can hear me, but I can't hear Isaac. Nope. Isaac, check your speaker, man. Check your microphone. Is your microphone on? I don't know what that was, but you're frozen. I don't know what's going on with you, Isaac.
Yeah, I think I will end the show and then we'll come back.
Isaac, shut down WhatsApp and Messenger on your computer. Shut them down completely.
Okay. And Messenger.
Anything else that's using sound. So it's not just minimizing it, it's shutting it down.
Yeah, closing it out.
Yeah. And now try to get back in.
Oh, Sonny look like working out.
What do you mean? Okay, you got sound?
Yeah, but I don't know whether the speaker will work. So
What speaker?
or the microphone, I don't know whether it'll work, but I just tested it. You heard it, right?
Yeah. All right, come back in.
Okay, let me come back here and see. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I don't know what the hell was wrong.
I tell you, I know exactly what was wrong. Any application that uses the microphone for speech grabs the microphone and doesn't let it go. So if you're running WhatsApp, if you're running Messenger, anything that you can make a call on, it doesn't let the microphone go. So now that you turn them off, it works.
We'll see. But it never happened before. But anyway, let's move on.
Oh, that's just your Africans always say that crap.
Well, I've been having my WhatsApp on because that's what I use sometimes for resource. But it's wonderful, man. How you doing? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. So what's the latest?
Wonderful, man. Not too much. It's late, but just some stuff going on that just seems like we're just in this suspended sense of incompetence laced with personal agendas and corruptions and stuff that we just can't move forward, especially when it comes to this whole biometric voter registration system.
No, it's not incompetence. It's stupidity and greed.
Well, sometimes
it's stupidity. I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday. And Omar and a whole bunch of us have said this thing before. These systems work everywhere else in the world, but they work because they are structured to work in a certain way. Only in Liberia do we take the system, apply it in a way it's not to be applied, and then say, "Oh, it doesn't work." So, in 2017, when the ECOWAS group came to review the election results, their number one recommendation was for your next election, you should have biometrics in place.
Yes,
but that was in 2017.
That was 5 years ago.
2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 2021.
How many elections we have had since that time? Probably
exactly. Okay, we have an organization in government that is mandated by law as the only entity in the government that can create biometric IDs.
The boss say I was picking Randy going crazy on social media. I don't know what that means, TT, but
I don't know. But anyway,
we can't worry about Randy yet, man. We got bigger fish to fry.
So the law says only the National Identification Registry can create biometric IDs. And the principle behind that is that you need one organization that generates this foundational ID.
No question. Fact.
One. The NEC decided that they are going to usurp the authority of the NIR simply because they can represent themselves as the essential service that we need right now. We need to have elections. So we need to do the biometrics. Here's the problem. You will end up with 2 sets of biometric data for Liberians.
But forget it, more than 2. But because they're Social Security with their own stuff, so that's 3.
And in the law, it specifically says that the NIR will provide biometric identity for Social Security.
But George, where I have the problem is most of this stuff, we are not funding it because we don't have the money. Are these international partners saying that in their countries of origin, this level of dysfunction happens around identity? Now your mic is off. I still can hear you. You better go turn our WhatsApp and our Messenger and any kind of social media thing you got off.
That's me. Hold on.
Yeah, that's you. Got you now. I can hear you.
All right, we should be back. Can you hear me
Yvonne,
now?
Yvonne, yes, Yvonne, we'll come to that whole diaspora voting. We'll talk about it shortly. Um, so, so yeah, my point is these people who are funding some of these things and trying to parse services that should be wholesome and functional into dysfunctional pieces, can they not see from their own country what's happening there, that it will come to Liberia and support funding schemes that are not holistic and don't serve the whole population? I just
You know what? Here's my thing, Isaac.
Mhm.
I'm sick and tired of us demanding that the people who give us the money must manage how we use the money. The people's position is, you know what? The Liberians are just stupid people. We know what it costs for biometrics. Let them figure it out. Okay? At some point, it comes down to stupidity.
But it comes down to incompetence too. You can want to say that stupidity word, but I don't necessarily agree with you. It's just about stupid. I think it's
No,
incompetence.
it's not incompetence, it's stupidity. Okay?
So
These people are stupid.
You really
They're
believe,
stupid people.
okay, you really believe they have the competence to execute this biometric and stuff?
Biometrics is not rocket science.
Nobody
Everybody
said
in the world.
science.
Exactly.
So
So
you can't take anybody and they implement a biometric and system. No way.
pretty much if you take a fairly an advanced level IT person, these systems come
So
structured.
you just
Yes.
said advanced level IT person. How many
Yeah.
advanced level? How many person in our population set in Liberia?
Okay, well.
Legitimate advanced level IT.
Listen, I'm with Omar, okay? Liberia is the only country where gravity is not 9.8 meters per second square. Okay? We're the only ones, Isaac. Somebody gives you a book. They say this is how you need to do it step by step by step. You then take that same book, you do it opposite what they say, and then you say, but it doesn't work. That's stupidity. It's not incompetence. If you're making rice bread and they give you the instructions, they say put 1 cup of rice, put 1 cup of oil, put 1 cup of water, do this. Okay? It's stupidity. If you put 3 cups of, you say, oh, I would just put 3 cups of water.
But man, it can be your choice of word. I don't have a problem with it at this point.
You know what? At this point, we're going too far to say, oh, the people are just incompetent. No, this is not incompetence. This is stupidity. It is. Because the Americans raised the issue. Okay? The Americans are trying to be diplomatic, where they don't say you people are too stupid, you don't know what you're doing. So they said put some brakes on it. But even when they put brakes on it, what happened?
They all the brakes and it's still sliding.
They all the brakes and they say, my man, let you be going, man. Don't mind people. Okay?
No, but
listen, the country is in bad shape.
Okay,
so Doric say it's willful ignorance. That's stupidity.
No. They are willingly being stupid, and because
right. Okay.
Right. But no, seriously, George, we do have a problem. So I'm thinking in terms of this biometric stuff, it's just supposed to be completely shelved. Because
I agree with that.
Because
as much as I want it, if we can't follow the rules to produce a feasible biometric system for the country,
let's shut it down.
Let's shut it down for now.
Because you can't do this kind of stuff halfway. And they got to step back.
But here's the thing.
Everybody in line.
They haven't done the census. They're telling us that they can register 3 million people in the next six months.
No,
everybody knows.
Don't even make it sound nice. They are doing it from December 15 to March 17, somewhere there. So that 3 months. Basically, they're saying they can do it 3 months and they're taking days off.
They can register 1 million people a year, a month.
Yeah. Yes.
So wait, let me bring my calculator because I don't know how to do those numbers.
But at
3 million,
right, 1 million a month.
Okay, divided. Let's just give them 100 days. Well, no, because if each month has,
Gosh, they are looking at 60 days, basically 62 days.
That's what they say.
Basically, because I did a chart with it. If you look at when it starts December 15th, you got Christmas there, you got New Year there, up to January 15th, right? And you got some Sundays in between. So you're missing 4 days out of that 21-day period. right?
Okay.
So let's say you get 17, 18 days. Then they take a 10-day break and then start later on in January to go to February. Then they take another little break and start February to March. So the guy breaks in between that period. So it's not consistent.
All right.
Then it's
Let's be
really
generous and give them 75 days.
okay. You can do that.
So what they are saying, and this is where I think, the stupidity of the legislators also comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
These people are saying that they can do 40,000 biometric IDs a day, every day of those days that they are operating.
I could understand. Let's say it were actually spread across.
They can't do it. I don't care how they were spread out. They can't do it.
Josh.
Isaac, the measurement of taking a biometric ID says 20 minutes per person.
Right, but 20 minutes.
Okay, that's the metric.
Right.
Okay,
So
you don't have
18 or let's say they're working 7 hours a day, or let's say we're even getting 10 hours.
That's 800,000 minutes a month. A day, rather. 800,000 minutes. You know how many stations you got to have? You know how many people you got to have? You know what the power requirements are for all of those things? Come on, man.
George, no, I really don't think
they can't do it.
I don't. And again, look, just a simple thing. When you, George, if you're a company selling something and you're going to do a presentation, will you not put your best foot forward? Use the best tool. They could not even produce the
card
in the first session. Then in the second session, they produced it, but way beyond the time span that they said they could produce a card. The system malfunction. So even if you got to carry your own generator or whatever, you got to get the best.
Correct.
On the field,
you have to control the environment.
Exactly. You have to control it when you're presenting. So it makes no sense for us to continue with these people. In my non-expert opinion, David Brown took some money from these people. There is no way these people will fail this miserably, come and fail again, and then you offer them up to and PP and CC to approve them. It just, I don't know.
Didn't the PPCC cancel the whole thing?
They said they can't accept this second recommendation. They rejected it. So I don't know where she's going. I think they need to call off the whole biometric thing. And
I think they do.
Now we got to focus on the census, right? The census is important, but that's another thing. Since 2008, that's what? 14 years. The demographics have shifted. They have done some little adjustments here and increased stuff, but it's not reflective of what the real numbers are. And that's why a census is necessary. So when you got an incompetent person like Victor Smith, who's not supposed to be heading the place by law, I think he's administrative or something like that, but he's not a statistical person who should be replacing the chairman, Francis Redd. But because I think he 12 begin or he 12 man or whatever, they're pushing him there as the lead, as the head, when he's not supposed to be. So he doesn't understand statistics. He doesn't understand how the stuff is supposed to work. And unfortunately, that's who it seems we are stuck with. To simply organize the aptitude test for those who are applying to be enumerators, can't do it effectively. Cannot.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. Again, we don't plan to fail. We fail to plan.
Oh, well, what question we do?
Okay. Why are we here?
Because
days before an election. Right? Why are we here?
Again, no
plan. That we stuck with counting people and registering people.
And somebody will bring something ludicrous to me that I don't even think, I think they're lying, talking about, the people say they ain't able to make it, so they'll try to propose interim government. What kind of nonsense is that?
No. Let's go ahead. Scrap the, what do you call the thing? Scrap the biometrics. I don't know that we can do the census reliably.
I think we need to do the census though.
Okay, I think we need to do it, but can we do it reliably?
That's the question. And that's where we need additional expertise, not just the folks. And I think we need significant opposition political party monitoring of this process. They have to demand some kind of project plan. They have to be engaged in it, and it has to be an engagement that is supported to ensure, because according to what I'm hearing, the list that they are pushing, and that's why some people in the counties are upset. All these people who are individually trying, aspiring to be enumerators, they are pushing specific lists coming from the CDC to stack their people, because whether they want to gerrymander, whether they want to do some other stuff.
Here's the thing, okay? The opposition is incompetent. That's just the truth. In all of this thing with the biometric registration, I have not heard a single person from the opposition put out a position statement and say, this is where we stand. We have technical people, and this is what I suggest we do. Nobody has said anything.
Again,
the opposition is incompetent. They are.
Again, but why you can say the opposition is stupid now? And that what you want to use?
Well, because I know that they don't have the people. Okay, I know they don't.
No, unfortunately, again, that is incompetence, because the opposition does have
Buckeye people, and them George Lobo and all of them. They are on the radio every day, every single day. Okay, there's not one day that goes by that they don't have a show on the radio. I've never heard them talk about this biometric issue, not once.
Again, I don't know. I can't validate what you're saying. I would just have.
I'm saying they don't. Let somebody call George Lobo that he can talk.
It takes some.
Abdullah Katamba.
That boy got man though. Maybe he's there on the show.
I don't care who man he is. They never talk about it.
Again,
people don't care about process.
No, they
don't.
What they know, they may not understand. Like you said, there's a lot of people who don't have the ability to handle these things, to discuss it in substance, and to be able to convince people about the path. And people got different. I even heard somebody talking about, the people at the NRR don't carry the biometric to them because that CDC people. If we are opposition, we need to be able to monitor that whole process. We need
exactly
to it, or just force ourselves in a situation to monitor, because we cannot let a situation where they are stacking the biometric information, like places like, let's say River says, about 35,000 voters in the 2 districts there, and you let somebody come from there and say that 60,000 voters in River says, and you agree? No, that's when you challenge and question all these things. And again, George, we got competence outside, and many of our very competent Liberians are not involved in what's happening in Liberia, unfortunately, and that's just a fact. You can just look at your classmates. How many of them you think involved in Liberia?
Yeah, but Isaac, I would tell you this.
We go around, we go to BW Harris, we go to St. Patrick, we go to all those schools that were existing before, whose cohort or age group today should be the leaders in Liberia. How many of them are active?
Isaac, let me tell you something, okay? I'm not going to fault them.
Oh no!
And I'll tell you why I will not fault them for the inactivity.
All right, go ahead.
I've been active in Liberia, in Liberian politics, going on close to 40 years now.
Yeah.
Okay? Isaac, I've seen no results.
You know why?
I've seen no results.
Because
so
there's no critical mass of people who trying to do it.
No, I'm 62 years old, Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 62 years old.
Right.
All right. What makes you think I'm willing to spend the rest of the good years that I have chasing after Liberia, or I'm willing to ask somebody in my class who is 62 years old to give up their life in America and focus on Liberian affairs? Do you know how tedious this stuff is?
I know. I know.
Okay. It's a lot to ask.
So, So George, but
It's a lot to ask.
the reality is that foundation, wherever they are today, a significant portion of that is due to them being Liberian and having that foundation. So to some extent, there's some level of obligation. You can say you don't blame them. I can say I don't
There's
blame
no
them.
obligation.
I disagree with you.
I don't. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that to anybody and say they're obligated to help Liberia. What helped Liberia help me? I paid my tuition when I went to school in Liberia. I didn't have government scholarship. I didn't have government scholarship. I got nothing from the country. Having a Liberian passport was a burden for me.
Eventually, but
it was a burden for me for the entire time I had it. For the entire time I had it, I literally had to justify my existence in the world as a human being. Okay, every time I had to travel.
Okay, that's a fact. But in the early years, it wasn't the case. Things changed.
Isaac, in the early years, when
I disagree that there's no obligation. We have an obligation to our mother country, and there's
no. Well, guess what?
What?
Guess what?
You can
my mother country. My mother country is America. You understand me? All right. Let me tell you that right now. My mother country is America. I got my little small flag that they gave me when I took my immigration thing. I put it right by my bed. I fly every now and then. Listen, Isaac.
No,
the commitment that, but on a serious note, on a serious note, the commitment that some of us have to Liberia far exceeds what Liberia is willing to even try to do.
Oh, totally. I agree, George.
For us.
I agree.
How long are we going to try?
Well, a few more years. We got to in a couple more years.
Listen.
To be honest with people, I got a year and change.
If this next election does not bring in change to Liberia, I'm going to find me an island to retire to, dog. There are plenty of islands in the Caribbean.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And $2,000-3,000 a month enough to just and enjoy for the rest of your life. That's a fact. But no, look, if we didn't care or didn't want things to be different, even so many people like MT4 White, he would say anything, but he cares because he's here watching this show. He on social media commenting. He on in different forums or areas challenging people. So he cares.
You know what people? You know what a Ghanaian friend of mine told me?
What?
She said people get the government they deserve.
I think
that's what she told me.
I think I agree with that statement.
So once she told me that, I realized that Liberia is where Liberians want it to be.
And again, George,
change is aspirational. You have to want change. You have to want to improve.
I agree.
If you don't want that, nobody can help you change.
And at some point, we can.
Even the dog agree with me.
Yeah, dogs agree totally.
100%.
Dogs agree.
Yeah.
But look, George. But my point is, everybody not at that same stage of conceptualization or rationalization or what change is to understand it and to push it. Look, sometimes the level of thinking with some people who should know better. I ain't even talking about the people who don't know better. Some people who should know better. It's just so far from the reality of how things should be that sometimes I wonder, is it, did we grow up? Did we drink different water? What happened here? So, George, we got to have some level of patience with people. I know you're saying with the next election. Yes, I'm saying with the next election too. But that change, it has to come with mindset change, not just people change. And if Alex Cummings cannot implement that mindset change, I will be opposition again. Because it's critical. The country is just deteriorating. You're looking at some relative or friend who either in a dementia, Alzheimer's, or some kind of disease rating stage where they're just deteriorating gradually and things are just getting worse. We got to have some influence. And some people want to sit on the side and think they can just throw suggestions over the table and it happen. No, like George is saying, the simple thing, no, well, not simple thing, but the whole biometric thing,
The incompetence is there. It's just like for a whole bunch of other things that's supposed to happen. I was listening to an interview by some guy who was supposed to be the director of small arms to talk about the agency. And it was torturous. I mean, I was like, can this guy go to some kind of international meeting and deal with the issues on small arms in Liberia?
They invent numbers. They just invent numbers and go and put them out.
Oh, I'll be happy. Somebody say communists can be sure of one thing: if he wins, everyone will be critical about it. Yes, they're supposed
And
to
everyone should be critical of him. Nobody's here to cheer for him.
That should be a standard.
Nobody here to cheer for him.
This is all of our country. You know,
go back and read what I supported Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. And based on her performance during Ebola, I wrote a letter and asked her to resign. I'm not here to carry your water. When you were elected, you said you were going to do certain things. If you don't do them, you get out.
That's the bottom line.
We don't have time.
No, we don't.
We don't have time. I want Cummings to win. But if he gets there, he has to lay out a vision and he has to start executing on that vision. If he deviates from that vision, I will call him out.
No, he laying out a vision now, so we got expectations already.
Right.
No, I mean, I agree with you, Doric. I agree that Mr. Cummings is ready to meet that challenge. I'm just saying the team that he's coming with has to be ready, or he got to just keep blasting them. For me, I can keep firing until I get a right person. I don't care. I'll keep changing until I get a right person, because he has to have the right team. Because as small a country as Liberia is still complex. Governance is complex, and you need the people who will be committed to that same change mindset that you have. That will be the change agents in the respective ministry, agency, whatever, to bring the other people along, because everybody will not be there. And they got to be able to understand how to handle multiple personalities with a divergent opinion, divergent political orientation, divergent capabilities. All of those things come into play. So it's not easy. And that's why it's so much difficult for we have to really do anything, because he has never had that management experience, that people experience. He doesn't know it. He can synthesize multiple information coming from different people. So sometimes...
And he can't deal with people who disagree with him.
That's a fact.
He can't deal with people who disagree with him.
And you can't have only sycophants around you. That's a recipe for disaster and failure. If you just have sycophants who will just say yes or yes or yes or, it's not going to happen. So just to close up on this census thing, I think I really think they need to bring additional expertise in to run the census. The census is doable. The census is computer assisted.
What is the time frame for completing the census?
I believe the time frame for completing the census, because I believe voter registration can be pushed forward. It's not a lock that it has to be between December to March. And the fact that we're not doing biometric anymore, so we got to focus on
that. We think we're not doing biometric anymore.
I mean, I don't see how they can do biometric. I don't see how they can do biometric. How they can do biometric? Not possible.
If there's money involved, they're gonna try.
Yeah, but they don't have the money, and the people who have the money should call the shots. That means the international community got to make sure that that biometric thing is a joke. It's not gonna happen. If that's the case, then it's about cleaning the voter rolls and about the additional first-time voters and other people who never registered before being able to register. You know, so I really think the census should go on, even if it takes 2 months. Let the census go on, but it should not go on under this current leadership of, Victor Smith and I think the guy named Lawrence something, who are acting basically in place of Francis Rare, who has had surgery or he was sick or something and he can't run the ministry. Let Alex Williams, supported by other professionals out there, try to handle that census, and that's what the country needs at this point. Because I believe the census can be done in 2 months if they really deploy the number of enumerators they're talking about. And actually, there's a good monitoring evaluation team out there to make sure that people are doing the work and not just a bunch of citizens stacked on the enumerator list. So, that's where I stand with that.
All right, well.
Okay.
You know,
So what do you think about? I watched a little clip. I think the guy name is Tampo Wea. He's the one of the representatives in Magibi, and he's saying, McGill should not come to the county to run. But then there's another representative from Bond County, Melvin something, who's saying he will come after Tampo Wea if Tampo Wea is critical of McGill. So where do we stand, or where do you stand in terms of these folks who have been sanctioned running for public office, one, and two, the location they're running in, I mean, like,
well, again, it falls on the government. Is the government conducting an investigation of the sanctions against McGill?
the president promised, but we have seen no progress.
So the position should be McGill should not be allowed to run until the government completes its investigation of the sanctions against him.
I mean, I think that's fair.
It's simple. It's simple.
But the lawmakers are also passing something that even if somebody runs and they win, and there's contention around the winning, they should sit them as a lawmaker, and then if they find out that nothing is wrong, then
no, but this has to go to qualifications. Is Mr. McGill, while he's under a criminal investigation?
No, I agree. He shouldn't participate.
Is he qualified? Is he qualified to run?
He should not run.
If the government is not, so if the government says, here's the thing, it forces the government to say, we're not investigating the man. Because if he's not being investigated, then there's nothing they can do about him running. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, that means, hey,
that means he's a free man.
Yeah, the U.S. sanction for the U.S. It has nothing to do with that. That's essentially what they're saying. Are they able to say that?
But as Omar says, we already have international criminals serving. And we do.
That's a fact.
We do.
I mean, Tifa, where you had today, the BULSHRT is flowing. No, but seriously, all this stuff really frustrates people, Josh. I mean,
well,
this
again, people have to want change.
Yeah.
They have to want it. I can't want more change for Liberia than Liberians want for themselves.
And that's a fact. That's a fact.
I can't.
You tried before, it just didn't work.
I can't.
You pick it up. And people
and I'm not subject to the same pressures that they are subject to.
But sometimes, George, to be honest, people don't understand what you call in pressure. Because many of our people, unfortunately, are born into these situations that they live in today. It was not different for them when they were born 18, 20, 30 years ago. These were hard scrapping situations people are born in. And that's all they know. And many have not been exposed to anything that's better. So that Liberian saying, when you know, that one of the most profound statements I ever heard in my life. And it applies consistently because most of the folks don't know what's better for them. I mean, if somebody can take a bag of rice today over 6 years of possibility, I mean, some of the arguments people make to vote the way they vote.
But Isaac, again, I've said this thing to Liberians. I had a long conversation with a friend of mine who came to my cousin, Gregory Fangalo. Hold on, let me just bring this up. Roosevelt. Okay, so I was explaining to them what Roosevelt meant when he talked about freedom from want in his speech. And that's what Liberians don't get. What is freedom from want? Okay? You take the typical 95% of the people who live in the United States who work and get paid every 2 weeks. Even if they don't have cash, on the 5th day after they get paid, they are not destitute.
No.
By destitute, I mean they are not under threat of losing their home. They are not under threat of going to bed hungry. They are not under threat of not having to put gas in their car or pay or not having transportation. Those are the things that are essential for a person to live in a way, I don't want to use the Christian word that they use, but it's in abundance. To live your life in a way that those things don't overwhelm you. In Liberia, they do. In Liberia, if somebody comes to work for you, they want to be paid that day.
That day, and you got to feed them.
Yes, but why?
Why?
Because
everybody hungry is.
Yes, they don't have. Reserves. They have no reserves. They have no way. If you don't pay them today, they will not eat tomorrow.
And I was talking to a young lady the other day, and she was bringing up the whole issue of Maslow hierarchy of needs. I mean, the basics not there.
There's a guy here. There's a guy on Facebook where when the price of gas went up to $5.50 in America, Liberian guy who lives in Liberia, he said, "Hey, y'all will catch hell." I told him no, because guess what? I can put it on my credit card, and I can pay for it over 24 months. So even if I put $100 worth of gas in my car today, I can stretch it over 24 months. In Liberia, you can't do that.
You have no credit facility.
You have to pay cash for everything. No ability. So any increase in price completely disrupts your living. And they don't understand that. So when we talk about people taking a bag of rice today, they have to eat today. They're not concerned about what they will eat 6 years from now. They need to eat today.
Right.
So it's that lack of freedom from want that is an indication of the destitution of the Liberian people. And it informs all of the decisions they make.
It's all in the moment. It's just immediate. Very, very immediate. In the moment.
People going to campaign rally to get a T-shirt. It's not because they like the person who's giving them the T-shirt. They need a T-shirt to wear.
A new clothes. No question.
They need a T-shirt to wear. And so, when we begin to understand those things, that the people are so desperately poor that it's difficult for them to see any way out of their poverty.
So, what they can say, Houston will have a problem. Liberia will have a problem.
Yeah.
And, again, like you said, we can't want it more than them. We can only talk. Like the other person is saying, y'all can talk. We are the best. Okay.
And if you like where you are, Mr. Soare, if you like where you are going, that's good for you.
No question. And that's the
That's good for
uniqueness of a
you.
democracy. It's an individual
Okay.
choice. That's what it's supposed to be. Even though
The
sometimes
only thing I can tell you is, the only thing I can say to you, Mr. Soare, do you see where I am? That's all I can say to you. Do you see where I am?
they're asking if he ever going to get there,
Nothing that you do in Liberia
can affect
is
whatever.
going to change where I am.
Yeah.
Okay? So don't think that you are insulting me, you're hurting my feelings, you're making me feel bad. No. Nothing you can say makes me feel bad.
But that's what I tell people all the time. Most
Okay?
times, somebody who can't even cook in the house, somebody who can pee in the house, somebody who can defecate in the house, somebody who can wash DJ in the house, that's somebody that will cost me and it will even mean something to me or upset me. No, it can't. They can say anything they want to say.
I woke up this morning and it was 55 degrees. Mr. Soare, you know what I did?
You don't turn the temperature up.
I turned the temperature. I said, I don't even turn it up. You know what I say? I say, Alexa, turn the
Alexa,
master
control me
bedroom.
of being alive.
I said, Alexa, turn the master bedroom temperature to 74. Okay? I can say, Alexa, turn the kitchen lights off. But here's what I did. I went. Yeah, she's talking shit to me now.
Yeah, so you call her name, she can talk.
So I went and I turned the heater on for the pool. So, Mr. Soare, guess what? Tomorrow, my pool will be 85 degrees. Doesn't matter how cold it gets, I can heat my pool. Okay? Nothing you people do in Liberia is going to change. Okay? The things that we have in America, the things that we have learned to do in America, we have the ability to replicate them in Liberia.
No question.
You people are happy with what you have. Then guess what? I'm happy with what I got too.
But unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are not happy and who don't have the voice to voice their unhappiness. And
then they need to make their voice heard, their voices heard.
Civic education, I've been talking this for years now, and I try to push it as much as I can. Civic education is a necessity. People got to understand their right. They got to understand what the social contract is. They got to understand how to assess candidates that come to vote. And this has to be like, you don't care who they vote for, but you got to try to impart to them what the fundamentals are for them to understand and to be able to make a decision that based on the information received versus emotion versus popularity versus the men and so forth at his time, you know. So until we can get our people there, the great Aliyu Soare can keep making those kind of statements he wants to make, and you know he will have people who will listen to him. So, folks, you know, I think we have exhausted on this election commission and on the biometric issue. But what I want to talk about now is the coded words: collaboration and not unify, and what it really means, and how the opposition can get around that. So I mean, I don't know what George thinks, but there are a lot of people out there. Oh, if the opposition can collaborate, then George Weah will win. From my perspective, I'm saying, look, people need to decide. George Weah, he's the incumbent. Is he good for the country? Is he good for the country? And he leading the right way? Go for the man again. It's simple as that. But if he's not good, and the majority of us feel he's not good, then we look for somebody else. And people can have ambition. There is nothing wrong with Joseph Boyka wanting to be president or Alexander Cummings wanting to be president. But as long as we as a people are saying George Weah is not the right person, then we vote for one of those other people, even T1 Gonglo. But we know at this point, based on previous information, based on the experience of elections, that no one person will come up with 50% plus one. So there are one second, let me just finish. There are so many things right now that the opposition can work on and collaborate on that it doesn't have to be going as one ticket. But go ahead, George, because I will come back.
Let me tell you something, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I just tell you right now, I can't vote for Tiwan Gonglo. I don't care if he's the only person running. I can't vote for him. And here's why. The issue that we raised about the NEC and the NIR,
mm-hmm.
I took that issue specifically to Gonglo. I took it to his brother, Kelebo Gonglo. Gonglo has made it his claim to fame that he was Solicitor General.
Yeah,
you understand?
He was.
And he is supposed to understand the law. So if he's not willing to step up, you follow what I'm saying?
But was it only a step up situation? Do you have
what I'm saying is, if he's not willing, no, I sent him the entire law and I laid it out to him. This is what it is. He didn't write back and say, oh, I disagree with you. He didn't write and say, I agree with you. He did nothing. But my point is, if you are running for president and you cannot use the specific expertise you have as a former Solicitor General to clarify, this is what I think the law means. Because I will tell you this, if I were in Liberia,
mm-hmm.
I would sue the NEC for violating my civil rights.
And that's what I think, especially the first-time potential voters, that what they should do.
Hold on, I lost you again.
Oh, my people, you can hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I don't think that's me or Isaac. I think that's you.
But I ain't do anything. What could have happened? Sekou Kazali, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm running you on my speaker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can hear me. Yeah. No. I mean, again, if I were you, I would at least ask the brother Kelabu. Let me talk to what's his name. Let me talk to Tiwan to find out what could be his reluctance.
Who, you?
If I were you.
Look, man. Again, all I gotta say is, if I were in Liberia,
mm-hmm.
there's a lawsuit here.
No, there is a lawsuit there. There is.
For violation of my civil rights.
There is.
Okay?
Because
what the NEC is doing will more than it's against the law. It's something they don't have the authority to do, and it will more than likely disenfranchise me.
Right.
Okay? And the beauty of this thing is, any such lawsuit goes directly to the Supreme Court.
It will be heard right away.
So it can be resolved fairly quickly. Okay? But when you are even too lazy and you call yourself a legal scholar to take a position pro or con on something of this importance, I don't even want to hear you talking about being president.
I mean, a lot of times, a lot of people don't take serious stance on some of these issues until they know it can favor them. Because I don't know why people are scared to be wrong. Be principled. All right.
But take a stand. Say, listen, Mr. Fumbler, I read what you wrote and I disagree with it. And this is why I disagree with it according to the law.
Exactly.
But
and that's what they don't back up with. They don't want that intellectual.
You can't even do that.
So
okay.
I will see I can reach out to him and ask him what his position on these things. Because the need is there. The platform is open for,
because we can't wait for the legislators to resolve this thing. If we believe this is a violation of the law, it speaks directly to the civil rights of the citizens.
Yes, it does. Yes,
okay,
it does.
Because it would disenfranchise them. Okay, so you can go to the Supreme Court and ask them to make a ruling that the law says that only the NIR can do this. Okay, but people, so here's the thing: people in America do this all the time. They sue the government, and the court forces the government to perform a certain way. Okay, well, there's nothing wrong with suing the government.
Abraham Sinayoko. Don't make the people that come after me. Oh, my name is not Ivan. I'm not Russian. Oh, my name is Isaac Ivar. But anyway, the question he's asking, somebody asked it earlier, is about diaspora voting. In my opinion, the government of Liberia should make it possible for diasporans to register where they are.
My man, we just want people in Liberia to vote. You don't bring this diaspora voting nonsense here. We're not doing that. Because we're not. Isaac, we're not able to vote.
What do you mean we're not?
We're not. So here's my thing. All right. Here's my thing.
Where you coming from? We're not able.
Yes. Here's my thing. The people in Liberia can barely vote. But this whole idea of diaspora voting, let me explain to you all what it means when an American overseas can vote. An American who lives overseas and earns revenue overseas. Guess what? They pay taxes in America.
Not all of them pay taxes. Some of them.
All of them. All of them.
Some of them don't.
Oh, okay, so they violate the law, Isaac. But for the most part, it is the law,
right,
that they pay taxes in America. You still got to pay into your Social Security. You still got to pay into your Medicaid, Medicare. You have to pay taxes in America. Okay. Now, I will be quite honest with you. I am not for people who ain't paying a dime in taxes in Liberia, demanding services from the government of Liberia in terms of voting.
Oh,
that the government of Liberia.
That much I agree with.
No.
There has to be standard to it. That much I agree. But you can't just blanket say don't vote. There gotta be, and that's where they say the legislature is supposed to create.
The audio going again.
Your audio. You got the people can hear me.
Yes. So here's my thing. I want everybody in the diaspora to vote. So you know what you do? Let's set up a diaspora voting fund. Every Liberian in America who wants to vote and is eligible to vote, pay $250 into the fund.
But that's what the government.
The money will not go to the government directly.
No,
it will be held in an escrow account. Okay, and when they have completed what they need to do, then that money will be turned over to the government of Liberia. That's the way I see it. Okay, all I'm saying is I want to get Liberian people into the mindset that if you're going to request services from the government,
pay for it.
You have to pay for it. It's not free.
To some extent, you got to pay for it, especially when it's outside of the government regular operations. You have to pay for it.
All the people who are now talking about diaspora voting, y'all come now. Tell me what you think about that idea.
You think that 250 will intimidate people? I think people will be willing to pay, because look at it like this: to go take a flight from here, it's nearly $2,000 now round trip. Plus, you got to spend money on the ground while you're there just to go register. Then you come back, you take another flight to go vote. So that about $6,000 easily. If you can pay $250 or $300 or $500, pay it.
Right.
Pay it.
Right.
To be a part of the process. If it means that much to you,
even if we didn't have the ability, okay, to tax Liberian citizens living in the United States, if the government of Liberia said every Liberian citizen living in the United States who wants to maintain a Liberian passport must pay the government of Liberia a $200 head tax every year.
That should be fun. That should be that. To me, that
we should be able to do that.
We should be able to do it. We should be able to pay the government that amount. There is nothing wrong with that kind of taxation. That is just basically maintaining your identity remotely and then being able to provide so many different services to you. That could even argument like certain services at the embassy can be decreased a little bit. So we have to be willing to support government activities. That's the only way government functions properly. And then we can hold this government accountable, right? That we think. So it's a two-way street, and people got to look at it that way. I totally agree with diaspora tax in general and specific to these elections as well.
Now, if you want to maintain your Liberian passport, okay, you should pay the diaspora tax. Every time you come to renew your passport, for the years that you have not paid the diaspora tax, they need to collect that money from you.
Starting as the implementation, and I'm going back to whatever time, starting from the implementation.
Starting from the implementation, fine.
Right.
Okay,
right.
But that money can even be used to help maintain foreign missions.
But
how many times have Liberians not had to take up offers, right?
To even cut the grass at the
embassy? Cut the grass at the embassy.
No.
Okay, so what do you mean by we cannot be overcharged? To maintain your sovereignty. What are you talking about?
I don't know what you
No, let him explain it. I want you to explain. Explain to me what you mean, because you just come and put big words together and it doesn't mean it. Tell me what you mean.
You might just say you won't come on to explain or say you can come on free. When I'm working on Melvin, the people can force somebody to vote. Some people can say they won't vote. Why you be fine if you don't vote? Anyway, that's another issue. But absentee voting is something that the government should definitely consider for Liberians who are in the diaspora. It's possible.
Yeah, they should consider it, and they should be straightforward. Okay.
The man who read the other one, but now he say he at work, or he can't respect it. No, but the people in Guinea, the people go to the Guinean embassy in Liberia and vote. The Guineans,
okay,
absentee voting. So it's not impossible. We can do it. It just has to be that commitment has to be there. So hopefully people understand where we are or where our position is. We have a shared position on this one, that there has to be some kind of taxation because as a service.
I believe that the government has to pay for certain services, but the government has to let the population know what those services cost. There's a cost for everything. It's not free.
Nothing free. We say that thing all the time. Free is not free.
Okay?
Free is not free. So people need to pay for the services they want from government too. Government is there to provide it and create the environment, but there's some cost to providing certain services, and that's why you pay for. The same way you gotta go, pay for different things. I can get a flag receipt. That's the same way people in the U.S. need to pay.
You don't get free driver's license in America. You don't get free anything.
No,
there's a service fee that you have to pay. So, for example, I got the what's that rapid traveler thing with the TSA?
Oh.
Where you don't stand in line?
Yeah.
Right.
They got it clear and the pre. What the other name for it, man? Yeah, but I know what you're talking about. I got clear. I don't have the TSA on. I got clear where I just get to the front of the line. Yeah, the man right. Article 80C. George, you there? Ibrahim, you're right. It is Article 80C. It is very, very clear. Every Liberian citizen shall have the right to be registered in a constituency and to vote in public elections only in the constituency where registered, either in person or by absentee ballot, provided that such citizens shall have the right to change the voting constituency as may be prescribed by the legislature. So even if you look at this deeply, George, the folks, let's say disabled people and other stuff, they should be able to vote. They should be able to vote. Your microphone not working, George.
It's working now, right?
Yes, it is working now. So, there's a lot of things. Yeah. What the KTM for? Know what?
Known traveler number.
Known traveler number. Okay, yeah.
So when you apply for the TSA pre-check, they issue you a known traveler number.
Right.
And there's something else called a global pass.
Right. That's the other one. The global pass. But
it's not free.
Nothing free.
Right.
You gotta pay, you gotta go get interview and everything. So there's process to everything. It's just I would like to bypass process And that's another thing. Why we think we're entitled? Why people feel so privileged, George? Is it a disease for Liberians?
No, I don't think the government has ever been a government of record in Liberia to say, we're going to do this. This is what it's going to cost. This is what we're going to charge the citizens to provide this service.
But George, I've been crying for that for the longest time. For every law they pass, they got to do that cost-benefit analysis.
Exactly.
Alternative analysis of this is what it would take. This is what we make. It should just be consistent. These are the other things that we'll consider. This is the best route to go. But because for any law, any program, there's so many different ways to implement, So if you can look and select the best, whether it's the return on investment or the best social benefit, to that particular process, it has to happen. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen again. It's about systems. Okay, the person said my question regarding Liberians in the diaspora to vote for making sure you have paid your taxes in Liberia. If I can show that I pay taxes in Liberia, should I still pay the 200 you guys are talking about? But the taxes in Liberia are specific to certain services or to certain requirements. So it could be you paying your business tax, you're doing business.
Your property tax.
You pay your property tax. Okay? Those are, I guess, the two primary taxes. You ship your stuff, paying your.
Okay, fine. I agree. If you're paying property taxes in Liberia, that's fine.
Then you can be considered domicile there. So
yes, but if you're not paying property taxes in Liberia, if you're just a Liberian living in America and you don't have property that you're being taxed on or anything like that, then guess what? You should still pay a $200 a year head tax because we don't have any way to tax you.
I agree. Because look, 200, let's say about 300,000 Liberians out of the country. That's $60 million annually the country can get. So that's essentially could be the diaspora fund because a portion of that can be used for integration activities with diaspora and people local. There's just so many ways we can make money. Look at real estate. I think what they get from real estate in Liberia, 5 million or 10 million or something, that is way below what they should be getting. So real estate taxes are that's a sector that has so much upside to it. People got to account for their property. If you leave
No, I disagree.
What?
Me and this Witu Deborah were having the same conversation the other day.
Mm-hmm.
People don't have to account for their property. The government has to account for people's property.
No, when I say, hold on, now you're twisting the thing. When I say I have to account for it from a financial perspective, from a system and identification, yes, it's the government that's supposed to do that. That one I agree with. But you as a landowner, as a property owner, look, you can't even have your grass at a certain level in this place here. Right in the cities, when people on develop property, they just that forest you in. So there gotta be some rules that we gotta implement. For Zondo, that's the biggest thing. Will the money be used wisely? That's where we have the biggest problem. A lot of times, when you look at even the spend pattern of government, the money is not being used wisely.
Yeah, but look at the road maintenance fund. That structure was set up specifically to maintain the roads.
Right.
And Twe and them decided that they would take money from there to do something else with it.
I mean, Ella James Bly, we can definitely suggest it to this government, and most likely they will welcome it, in terms of the tax structure and potential revenue from the diaspora. But yes, I mean, for the longest time, we have held our position that people in the diaspora should be paying something back to their country.
And my proposal is a head tax.
Yes.
Just a flat $200.
It's not unreasonable. Anybody above 18 should pay that $200. 18 and above. To pay that $200 government. It's not, even they won't bring it to warrants there, but still.
200. Because I would tell you, Isaac, the things that we spend money on in America that are trivial.
Oh, there are too many. There are too many. From the extra Coke to the extra coffee to the extra this.
Isaac, I bought tickets to the Suns game. When the Warriors come the next time. Those tickets are $400 a piece for 3 hours of entertainment.
You know, that's a great question, Abraham. Should the Liberians residing in Guinea be required to also pay the proposed tax?
Yes, anybody living outside the country.
Yes, it should be. I'm not saying it's not possible to look at some kind of differential. It's possible to look at probably, or you want to say standard of living in those countries or something, and have some kind of sliding scale to those payments. That's possible. But yes, if somebody in Guinea voting, somebody in Ghana voting, somebody in South Africa voting, they should pay to the country. They should pay. It's only fair.
Look, you can lay out a plan that says initially we'll start by just doing a flat tax. Once we get revenue into the system, we'll develop a better system that will be able to say this person is living in Ghana as a refugee. This person is living in this other place. But guess what? Even the country you're living in as a refugee, you pay taxes there.
It's fact.
Okay. Even where you live as a refugee, you pay taxes there. The people who come to America as refugees, they work and they still pay taxes to the US government. So guess what? Maybe you can give us your US tax return.
Yeah. I used to do the same thing with my kids. Take them to drive from here or take the train from here, go to New York to go to a Broadway show, get them exposed.
Exactly.
So cut down one trip, you'll be able to pay your hair tax.
Isaac, man, look, if you look at things like you look at the things that you buy every day, okay? So I got one credit card that I use with my Apple Pay just for discretionary spending, food, food that I buy outside the house or anything like that. At a minimum, between gas and food, I spend about $1,400 a month. Okay? I spend about $1,400 a month.
Easily. Everybody can cut back on something to be able to meet that requirement. So
you can miss one dinner.
I think it's only fair. I think it's only fair. That's a nice name for a patriot tax, Or you want to say citizen here tax? Diaspora hot tax?
Yes.
Anyone. But we need to pay. So so I think diasporas definitely should. It's just that our representation has been poor.
Look,
if Yula here can be asking the government to get 100,000
exactly
in the budget, what kind of respect do we have as diasporans?
Right.
The money should be going the other way.
Because we are the wealthiest group of Liberians in the world.
Anyway, no question. The
people in the diaspora collectively are the wealthiest group of Liberians in the world. So I'm trying to figure out, why would Yula be asking the government to give them money?
That stuff was crazy. It was embarrassing. And it went to Liberia chasing that money too. And then they said they want to be representative organization for Liberia. No, you don't speak for us Liberians. That's not how we want to present and portray ourselves. No, it's wrong. So hopefully the diaspora can wake up. Hopefully we can have a real representative mindset around these things. People like to claim and be in the front of many of these struggles, but we've been after some of these struggles for the longest time, So the history are there. The history is there for all these different activities that different people have been involved in. Though at the culmination or the resource point, some people are there and can.
But at the end of the day, I mean, look, what is Yula? Yula is a clique. That's all it is. Okay? That's all it is. For as long as Yula has been in existence, these people have never set up a database of Liberians living in the United States.
So
they don't have any records.
Way back, I made those suggestions to Yula when I was part of Yula.
They don't have any records.
No reform. They're not interested.
Everybody wants to be president of Yula, and everybody who has been president of Yula has tried to use it as a stepping stone to political power in Liberia.
Yeah. Muna, maybe Yula didn't overtly ask, but don't tell me when Maggie were coming to speak there, they were not talking in the background about, so what didn't you get us? What didn't we get? Because we're pushing your agenda. So even if they didn't ask, and what's his name? Nat Barnes was very smart. That seemed like at the program to state how embarrassing it was for Yula to ask for that money. Because he was a former ambassador and he was dealing with Liberians here as well. So he understands the dynamic. So yeah, let's say you like even asked, they promised them, but why they went chasing, why they accepted the promise? Not every promise you take go. Not every promise is a good promise. Okay, so hey, that's what it is.
What makes you think you can take free money from the government of Liberia and then not place a demand on you?
Especially that kind of government that we're talking about.
But any government, me, if you come to me for money, I will place a demand on you.
Yeah, but there's some.
Not Santa Claus.
There's some.
Even Santa Claus. Even Santa Claus places a demand on you. He demands that you be good for the previous year.
I know a lot of people. George, there's some great money that don't put demand. It just require you to
zero. There's no such money. It may not be explicit, but it's implied. It's always implied.
You see, very poor diaspora Ethiopians are financing the construction of the dam. Look, Doric, I've been talking about this thing. If Liberians can really put the money together, you think that Lebanese people, if we're serious, the Lebanese people should control our economy like they do, if Liberians could even get together and invest in it? No, they won't. Unfortunately, for us to work together, it's a problem. For us to say, you know, this person is the best person today, let them be in front, it's a problem for many people. There's nothing wrong with being competitive, but sometimes you got to be honest with yourself. Okay, so you saying the legislature and the Senate not paying their fair share in taxes. That's probably true. Even with all the different utilities and services that they get, you know, the people in position operate with impunity. They don't want to pay. Whether it's paying their light bill, whether it's paying their water bill. Back in the day, they used to publish their names in the newspaper. I don't know what they're doing now. But they are the key ones, you're right, who undermine systems because they have this sense of entitlement, this sense of impunity that they can do anything they want to do. And it's just not right. So until we, the people, can hold them accountable, it's not going to happen. For the longest time, I have been advocating for us to be able to have a recall capability for Liberians. If you are representative, you're a senator, you're not performing, and we can get 20,000 signatures or 10,000 signatures or 50% of whatever the voting population is in your district, you should be recalled.
But here's the problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
A recall is an election.
Well,
there's a cost.
Well,
there's a cost.
Well, no.
So who's going to pay for it?
You can, hold on one second now, Josh. You can make a recall provision based on a validation of those signatures and stuff. It doesn't have to be like a full election thing. Yes, that space is open. You have to get somebody elected, but
somebody has to conduct an election, Isaac. Right, there's a cost to it. All I'm saying is, as long as we agree that there's a cost to it, and we talk any time we pass a law, you just said this earlier.
Yes,
we must consider the funding implications,
and we don't. So sometimes laws just sit there with all implementation, with all the policies and procedures.
You know, because 100,000 people in Macerado County want to recall their senator, this means you have to conduct an election of 1.5 million people.
Yes, and
there's a cost to that.
I'm saying there are ways to adjust your system, your funding, your finances. Again, I believe personally that we have more potential for revenue than we display today.
Okay, so here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
You want to conduct a recall election? Once we have the identification and we're not always constantly redoing the voter roll, the people who want to conduct the recall, right? They have to pay for 40% of the cost.
I don't know about 40%. I don't know.
I said they got to pay something.
I don't know why.
Let me give you an example.
If somebody is demonstrating bad leadership
under Arizona law,
responsible for it.
In California, when they did the recall for the governor, they had to pay for a portion of that recall. But but let's do this. Let's look at this. Under Arizona law, if the margin of victory is within a certain percentage, it triggers an automatic recall. Right?
Is the margin of victory in an election?
In an election is within, say, is less than 1% or something like that. It triggers an automatic recall.
So they go back to the polls.
No. As a recount, they pay for the recount.
Right.
Right.
That's
but so if it's 1.5%, and I'm challenging the results, guess what? I have to pay for that recount. Not a recall, a recount. Because it happened in Arizona and they tackled Trump for the $300,000 for the recount and he ran away.
No, some responsibility can shift to us, but
they said, okay, yeah, y'all want recount? Y'all got to pay for the recount because you didn't fall within the statutory allowed number for an automatic recount. So you have to pay for it. We'll do the recount, but you still have to pay for it.
Emmanuel Jesse, you say we are parading with complete disingenuous comparisons and suggestions. We should promote good governance in Liberia. I don't think too many people have promoted good governance beyond the two of us here, to be honest with you.
Okay, so
for you to make that statement, I don't know where you're coming from with that. We have pounded and pounded for good governance.
Like
some have been said, accused of
money
treason
to be managed by corrupt systems. So at the end of the day, Emmanuel Jesse, my argument for good governance in Liberia has always been about record keeping. If you show me a poor country, if you show me a country with poor record keeping, I will show you a poor country every time. Okay? And I have always said that as soon as we are sufficiently able to put in good record keeping systems, we will have good governance. Without that, it's not going to happen. Everything about Liberia's failure rests on our lack of keeping records. Everything about Liberia's success depends on our ability to keep records.
How do you track and monitor anything if you can't keep
exactly
records?
So this thing that you talk about, promote good governance. Governance is done by the people who are governing, not the people who are outside of government. Do you understand that? So I want you to repeat after me. Governance is done by the people who are governing, not the people who are outside of government. I cannot make the government do something that I don't have the statutory authority to compel it to do. The only way for me to do that is to sue the government, is to take the government to court, to say that the government must follow the law. Do you understand that? Because I don't think you do.
No, I don't think. He wants to shift it. So yeah, I think we've been here for a little while now. We can probably try to see if we can bring this to close. Share a lot of stuff. And then anything else outside what we discussed that you want to touch on, or you feel any exhaust?
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think so too. So folks, it's always great. We're maintaining our regularity going forward. You know, we're taking a little break here and there. My man, you share your experience. Where were you? The Grand Canyon or somewhere?
Oh yeah, I went to the. I took my cousin and them to the Grand Canyon. It was just a day trip. It was fantastic though. Just a day trip. We left at 6 in the morning. We got there about 10, 11 o'clock. We stayed there for a couple of hours and we came back down.
So, Ella James Bly, what are you talking about? Costa insulted Madame Salive again about what? Early this morning, and wishes death upon her. Costa is born again. He been talking.
Oh, he is?
That's what he was saying. Now you're Costa talking about law. Costa could be a preacher. Seriously.
You know what that is? I will tell you exactly what that is.
What?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I will tell you exactly what that is. That is the I want to run for office.
Oh, but he's been clear on that already.
That's what it is. You see me, I'm an atheist, right? And everybody knows that I'm an atheist. But when I go to run for office in Liberia. Let me tell you my plan now. Hold on. When the plane land in Liberia, I would drop on the ground and I would kiss the ground. And when I get up from there, I would tell y'all that I had a vision from the Lord. And it's this vision that brought me back to Liberia. When I landed, my knees were weakened, just like Saul before he became Paul. And I came with this vision, and the Lord has spoken to me. And I would tell you that bullshit, and y'all would buy it, and your dumbasses would vote for me. Because anybody who can sell you that crap, y'all will vote for them. Y'all like Jesus business more than you like science.
That's a fact. That part of fact. But I think you got to get him many benefit of that when it comes to faith. If that's why he.
But the man running for office and all of a sudden he born again.
No, but I think because I always talk about God business more. All the things.
Pat Mandela, I feel telling you my plan. You're talking about. I'm not going to do it. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Pat Mandela, trust me, the man can do that.
And then on Sunday, every Sunday, I'm making the rounds to all the churches to tell them I am your servant of God that he called from America to come here and live among my people.
Anyway,
struggle with them.
Elder James, I listen to this John family man. I would talk to Costa because I don't know why Costa will be joining citizen. Why citizen abusing Manasseh right now? Ever since talking about baby, but I don't know about now. I didn't watch it.
Nothing fools people more than religion. Nothing.
That's a fact. That is a fact.
Nothing fools them more than religion. You can beat your wife. You can kill your dog. You can beat your children. But if you come and say, I'm born again, all that other nonsense I did yesterday, y'all got to forget about it.
Look.
Because your Bible teaches you that once your sins are forgiven, it's all good. Do you know what you say, man?
Your classmates, you know what?
Once your sins are forgiven, it's all good. But here's the beauty, and this is what I like about religion, even though I'm an atheist. It doesn't matter what your sin is.
It can be forgiven.
It doesn't matter.
And how regularly you commit the same sin.
And how regularly you commit the same sin. As long as you say, you say to Christians, right? Jesus has forgiven me. It now puts the burden
on them to forgive you.
They have to forgive you.
They force that God forgive you. How they can forgive you?
That's correct. That is what I call the elegance.
But look at Butt Naked. Look at Prince Johnson. You did not God business. You telling me I'll put you in jail for the
God has forgiven me. You have to forgive me. You don't have a choice. Mind you, even when Jesus forgave the woman who was the prostitute, what did he say? He said, go and sin no more. Okay?
He said, go repeat that joke.
Don't do that shit again. Okay? That's what it came down to. But the Christians, they just say, you know what? I'm always forgiven. So for those of us who are atheists, we understand how you roll. Okay?
And you adjust, huh? You adjust when you get the bad time, you adjust that bad.
We're wrong. We understand. Guess what? If I got to fast for 30 days, so y'all can see me fasting for 30 days, I will fast for 30 days.
Well, okay? Look at one of my men who are on diet with his wife, and he used to go to the food truck and pretend like he was not eating every day until he busted.
Right? If I can't fast for 30 days, dog, y'all will see me fasting for 30 days, and I will make it believable. I will cut all my hair.
Let me tell you something.
And I will tell you, God, trust me, because look how many, you know how many churches they have in Liberia?
Everywhere, every corner. They disrupt your Sunday morning rest. They disrupt you during the week.
This stuff is so powerful, even the president has a church.
They got some of the best sound systems. They're able to project far out from a little zing round.
And the president uses his church to say, the Bible say, God said, touch not my anointed. So how do you know who God anointed? Because I'm sitting right here, right now, I'm telling you, God anointed me today. Just before I came on the air. He said, look, my man, you my anointed, go talk to Titi Nimland, go talk to Pat Mandela Davis. He sent me with a message specifically for y'all.
So, George.
And you know what he said? He said, I'm going to go get your medical checkup.
You don't mind a man talking all his atheist thing, oh. Somebody, when I'm feeling too well, when the person kind of balance out, he said, thank God. Don't mind it, man.
Yeah. You know what I said? You see, Isaac not telling the whole story. I told the person, God bless you, you are in America. But you know what? God only bless the people who in America.
That's true. The other people
if you had that same condition in Liberia,
you die.
Nah.
Period. You would die.
So anyway, guys, it's been real.
Let's get Josh, because you and I have talked to Randy a couple of different times on different issues, and we know how Randy thinks. TD, don't worry about Randy. Randy will get over himself. Wherever he crying for.
Get Randy on a three-way. I said let's see if we can talk to him. I mean, after the show.
Right. I'm not sure where Randy crying for, but I'll call him.
Isn't he living in Liberia right now?
No, Randy, yeah. Randy's staying in Delaware area.
All right. Okay, so we'll do this again next week.
Okay, folks, thank you. We really appreciate the time. George is gone. Titi, what are you waiting for me for? I keep telling you, don't worry about Randy. Look, everybody doesn't have to be on the same page. Everyone does not. We don't have to be on the same page. We can't be all worried about somebody criticizing or somebody going, rogue or what. No. This is a democracy. The people are entitled. Randy is entitled to say anything he wants to do, anything he wants to, let him go. It's not gospel. Yeah. Pat, Prince Johnson, Bud Naked, and some of the other criminals who committed war crimes, they can do all their forgiveness. The fact is, you committed those crimes, you need to go to jail. It's just simple. It's just very simple. Yes, I understand you're sorry, you apologize, but my brother, by law, you got to spend time. Okay? Well, TD, if Randy feel that how he think he will get Mr. Cummings to call him, he wasting his time. Okay? You can't do what he did. How Mr. Cummings managed to call you the first time? Why you go around that process to understand the people who got Cummings to call you, the relationship with Cummings that you're trying to build? We don't have time for those kind of thing, man. Let the man criticize. Mr. Cummings not perfect, ANC not perfect, nobody perfect. So if people got issues with people, let them either come to the person or to those near the person, or they go public. That's a choice. He took that choice. So let him deal with it publicly. It are the worst crimes Mr. Cummings would make, not to call Randy or some other people he promised to call, then that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, let's go to the substantive issues, the real things that are affecting this country, the poverty, the hunger. TD, stop. TD, don't bring the medical situation if it's true at all. Please leave it out. Randy is my friend. He's entitled to criticize Mr. Cummings or to say something differently. That doesn't make him not my friend. I would disagree with him. He wants to have a discussion on it any day, but let's not bring somebody medical issue, in this kind of situation right now. And hey, we got 11 months. Randy could change the position. The same way he changed the position before, he can change the position again. But let's not get personal, man. Let's try to stay above, the personal stuff and stick with the issues. Anyway, my man George called me. So, folks, thank you. We really appreciate all of you who listen and participate and help us to get things right. Later. Hello?